been given the topic of ADR, I would like to clarify that in my perception, ADR only includes those mechanisms, those processes which bring about a resolution. I need to clarify this because my one colleague who just went out from the last session, he told me, I hope you will speak something about arbitration. Firstly, the time isn't there to talk about that, but mainly because I do not see arbitration as part of ADR, because ADR is alternate dispute resolution. Arbitration is just another form of adjudication, a private court that you set up for yourself between the parties that you have a dispute with. Mediation and conciliation are the real processes of resolution, because if you go through that channel successfully, then it resolves everything. And you do not then have to have an appeal or a challenge to the award as you have in arbitration. Therefore, resolution is really these processes, and I will restrict my talk just on these two. There is not much difference between the two, so we may take conciliation as just another word or a type of mediation. And there are several types of mediation processes, transformative and narrative, but we will talk about facilitative mediation, where the mediator sits with the parties and finds out what their issues are and gets them to talk to each other. That's the main important thing, that they talk to each other. If you all have seen TV recently, the ad of Tata Sky, which says that fellow goes to a shop and the shopkeeper immediately catches him, chalo isko ye shirt pehnao, isko wo pant pehnao. This is what happens when you go to a court of law. The judge will give you something to wear and you are stuck with it, or you go into appeal and then wait for 20 years. Now there is a saying that it's rather than cursing the darkness, it's better to light a lamp. The darkness, unfortunately, is our corridors of our courts, and the lamp is mediation, conciliation. Why I say so is because mediation is where you make your choice. Meri marazi. You get to choose how you shall deal with the person that you have a dispute with down the line, and today how you shall sit and resolve with that person whatever your issues were in the past. The benefit of mediation, I will just give you one example, because if I say, for example, this fruit which you have never tasted, it's sweet. You say, well, why should I buy a fruit that costs 35 rupees when I can take a spoon of sugar for 10 paise and get that sweetness? So it's better to taste a mango and realize how different that sweetness is from sugar. So I'll just give you one example. Consider this situation which happened in another jurisdiction outside India. There were these two distant relatives. They had one common aunt. The aunt had a lot of estate and a lot of properties, and she was living in a sort of a semi-castle place which had huge lawns, and these two nephews would take care of that aunt because she did not have any other relatives. And these two nephews, who were otherwise too distantly related with each other, did have this one common aunt, and therefore a bonding developed down the line just for the purpose of taking care of the aunt. That's how it started, but then the bonding happened on its own, where it would happen that one would go to the other's house in his car and they would, over a cup of coffee, discuss several things, including how to take care of the aunt down the line, getting the gun, getting the doctors, the medicine, the nurse, all full-time staff and all that. One day, it so happened that that car which was just coming down the lane of this, I would let's say A and B. So B saw A's car coming and he immediately put the kettle for boiling, and he came out to open the door and realized the car has zipped past instead of coming in. So he wondered what happened, and suddenly a thought struck him that yes, the aunt has now expired last week, so now he doesn't need me. And that passing thought led him to call up his lawyer. What had happened was that a week back, the aunt that they were taking care of for the last 2-3 years expired, and she left a will in which everything was bequeathed to A, nothing to B. For one whole week, B knew about it, but never had any ill will against his nephew, against his cousin. But when he saw the car pass by, this passing car brought a passing thought, and he wondered and he felt cheated that behind my back A has been using me to take care of the aunt, but has behind my back got that will in his favor. And he called up his lawyer. He said, what can we do? Can we do something? Now naturally, we lawyers are always ready to jack up our billable hours. So if you come to us with a problem, we will not say, daat nikal do. We'll say, nahi, thoda root kanal karenge, phir dekhenge. And 20 visits you have. No, I don't blame my dentist, but normally we lawyers tend to do that. If we will do this, let's consider. Then now in Bombay we have another better system. We say, oh, we'll go to a senior counsel, take his opinion, then we'll consider. So one additional cost coming up. So that lawyer said, don't worry, we'll challenge the bill. So he challenged the bill, and the matter was filed in court. And the court had in that jurisdiction started mediation for about a year or so. So after a few months that this matter was on the registry, the judge got the matter and he said, well, I think you should try mediation because I will take some time and it's better to see if you can resolve it amongst yourself. This seems to be a fit case. You people seem to be knowing each other. So he referred it to mediation. Now, in mediation, the mediator explained to them the process and said, now who would like to start first? And now no one said anything. So he said, well, whose challenge is this? He said, well, I have filed that challenge. So would you like to tell us why you challenged that will? And he said, yes. And he explained what I just explained, that he saw the car and he called up his lawyer. And whilst he was saying that, A said, that was on a Thursday. So now the mediator is very alert. So the mediator kept quiet for a moment because A, when he said, that was a Thursday, B said, what difference does it make? Any day it could be, but that's what you did. You backstabbed me. He said, no, I remember specifically it was a Thursday. So the mediator realized there's something to it. I mean, what's this thing about Thursday? So he said, would you like to care to explain to us what's the relevance with Thursday? No relevance of the day Thursday, but I remember specifically because that was the day when I was in great anguish. I was working overnight for the last 3 weeks trying to fulfill a commitment and order a contract I had taken, and some nights I would even sleep at the factory. It was during that time that I received a call from my son's school saying that he has done something which the principal has taken cognizance of and wants to make an example of and has decided to rusticate him. So please come and collect your child. So I was just explaining to my staff what they should be doing in my absence whilst I am at the school. That another phone call came saying, this was from my neighbors in my farmhouse outside the town, and they said that, hey, look man, all your animals are suffering, that water trough is empty and the hay has all blown over with the wind, so they have nothing to eat, nothing to drink, they will soon die, you better do something about it. There, in those cities, countries, it's not like India. In India, you smell something, kya ban raha hai? Arey bhabhi ji kya bana hai? No, nobody goes into anybody's house over there. So they just call up, okay, aapke aag lagi, aake bujha ke jao. So they called up, and this poor chap, his farmhouse way outside the city, decided that my son won't die, the animals will. So he preferred to let his son be and went after the animals. And whilst he was driving, his friend's house came on the way, B's house was on the way, and he paused for a moment thinking that maybe I can take him along to help me fill up the water and feed the animals. And then he thought, maybe he's not at home, why waste time, let me rush, I have to still go to the school. So he paused and then zipped away. And he went there, filled up the trough and gave the food, and then went to the school and begged forgiveness with the principal. And he explained all that in the mediation. This is what happened. And then he said, when I came back on Monday, I received a notice from some lawyer about something. My eyes were so red with overnight shift that I was doing that I couldn't read properly. So I just sent it to my lawyer. And he said, well, this is regarding some will some lady has left. He said, yeah, she has left me her estate, but I don't know, I have no time to now do anything about it. What about it? He said, no, but that will is being challenged by Mr. So-and-so. Oh yeah, he's my friend, don't worry, I'll talk to him. So his lawyer said, shh, don't talk to your friend. Anything that you say will be used against you. He will misquote you and better his case, and your case will suffer. So don't even talk to him, even if he tries to contact you. So he said that I kept quiet about it, and then this matter came. And for all the time that he was narrating his side of what happened, B, who had filed the challenge to the will, his eyes were really moistening. And he looked at A and he said, I'm so sorry, if you had only told me that your son was being rusticated, I would have just picked up the phone and called the principal. He is my batchmate from school days. He wouldn't dare do it. I would have just told him, forget it, it's a mistake. You don't know, he's a very good boy. And I vouch for him, and you wouldn't have to beg. And about the animals, I could have really helped you. I had just put the key. He said, but I didn't know all that. He said, but well, at least you could have told me later on. He said, well, later on, my lawyer said, don't approach the other side, don't talk to them. So for 5 months, I've been waiting for this matter to come up. Now, friends, this is what happened thus far, which is understandable. But now see what happens. The charm of mediation. That as soon as this dialogue took place, B, who had challenged the will, told the mediator, sir, sorry for having bothered you. We will no more be requiring your services, as I shall be withdrawing my challenge. I will instruct my lawyers to do so. The mediator says that, well, and he immediately realized, because in that jurisdiction you have to even pay the cost if you are filing unnecessarily. So he said, no, without going into any details, I will pay the cost for everybody, including yourself, sir. So that is not an issue. But thank you very much. And as soon as he said that, A said, no, that does not end anything. And everybody looked at him and said, well, you see, sir, we both took care of the aunt together. There is no reason why I should get everything. So I would like to instruct in front of you both our lawyers to sit together and divide the estate in such a way that both of us get an equal share. Now that barrister who was in the room just as an observer, because he wanted to see what is his mediation, which is cutting down his billable hours, was shocked. And he said, for 27 years I am practicing this profession, I have never seen such a fantabulous result where parties on their own are coming together, maintaining the relationship and resolving their earlier dispute in such a fantastic way which no court could ever do. And that's what led him to understand the benefit of mediation and the charm of it. And I hope this small war story will put the message across that today in our courts we have got over 270 lakh cases pending, nearly quarter to 3 crores in the lower judiciary, 40 lakhs in the high court, over approximately 50,000 in the Supreme Court. Now against that we did a pilot project. Now these cases, mind well, when you look at the cases being filed and the cases being disposed, there is a lot of confusion, but let it remain at this, that you do not see the end of your case for 7 years on an average, looking at the appeals also. Against that, I give you a small specimen example that in Maharashtra, when we started our mediation, I have got a small period of observation from July 2008 to April 2010. That was the time one small survey was looked at. Approximately 2,900 odd cases were referred to mediation all over Maharashtra, out of which 690 got resolved successfully. The rest were either failing or were in the process where the mediation was still going on. But if you look at just 690 out of 3,000 is virtually 20%. And that 20% finds a resolution in a year and a half time maximum. Because some mediations start, they finish in 2 hours, some go on for 6 months, some very few about a year, but they all get over, and they did get over between July 2008 and April 2010. So within that span of 18 months or so, you have a resolution of 20% minimum, and that 20% does not end up in any appeals. So that should be a message to us that instead of looking at the courts, let us feed ourselves and sit with our brother, because this not only is about the quantity of the case is being dispensed with, but I just explained to you how the quality of the dispensation is also so fantabulous, which unfortunately no courts can ever do, only because the courts are concerned with what happened in the past, whereas you have to be concerned with now what you will do in the future. Should there be any questions, we'll take them up later on. Thank you.